A reading from the prophet Isaiah. The Lord says this: If you do away with the yoke, the clenched fist, the wicked word, if you give your bread to the hungry and relief to the oppressed, your light will rise in the darkness, and your shadows become like noon. The Lord will always guide you, giving you relief in desert places. He will give strength to your bones, and you shall be like a watered garden, like a spring of water, whose waters never run dry. You will rebuild the ancient ruins, build up on the old foundations. You will be called breach mender, restorer of ruined houses. If you refrain from trampling the Sabbath and doing business on the holy day, if you call the Sabbath delightful and the day sacred to the Lord honorable, if you honor it by abstaining from travel, from doing business and from gossip, then you shall find happiness in the Lord, and I will lead you triumphant over the heights of the land. I will feed you on the heritage of Jacob your father, for the mouth of the Lord has spoken. The word of the Lord. The response to the psalm is, Show me, Lord, your way, so that I may walk in your truth. Show me, Lord, your way, so that I may walk in your truth. Turn your ear, O Lord, and give answer, for I am poor and needy. Preserve my life, for I am faithful. Save the servant who trusts in you. Show me, Lord, your way, so that I may walk in your truth. You are my God. Have mercy on me, Lord, for I cry to you all the day long. Give joy to your servant, O Lord, for to you I lift up my soul. Show me, Lord, your way, so that I may walk in your truth. O Lord, you are good and forgiving, full of love to all who call. Give heed, O Lord, to my prayer, and attend to the sound of my voice. Show me, Lord, your way, so that I may walk in your truth. Glory to you, O Christ. You are the word of God. Harden not your hearts today, but listen to the voice of the Lord. Glory to you, O Christ. You are the word of God. The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Jesus noticed a tax collector, Levi by name, sitting by the customs house, and said to him, Follow me. And leaving everything, he got up and followed him. In his honor, Levi held a great reception in his house, and with them at table was a large gathering of tax collectors and others. The Pharisees and their scribes complained to his disciples and said, Why do you eat and drink with tax collectors and sinners? Jesus said to them in reply, It is not those who are well who need the doctor, but the sick. I have not come to call the virtuous, but sinners to repentance. The Gospel of the Lord. So today's Gospel in Saturday after Ash Wednesday, coming up to the first Sunday of Lent, introduces us to what's going to be a very, very important theme throughout Lent, to help us to understand really that we are preparing for the feast of our redemption. That's why the Lenten season is given to us, to discipline us, to train us, to draw us more deeply into the great mysteries of our faith that will centre most importantly around the events that happen on Calvary and at the empty tomb when Jesus is resurrected after his death on the cross for sinners. And we see, as it were, a sign of that in advance historically, but really drawing on that central grace of the gospel to be good news that our sin, our faults, our failings, the things we have done wrong, as it were, deliberately, sabotaging our own lives, sabotaging other people's lives, sabotaging God's plan, so his beautiful plan for this world, this can now be dealt with by God in a new way. And Levi, who's pretty much ensconced in a sinful way of life, it's not that just he's a tax collector, there would be something just about reputable about that. It was a job, but it was what he did with his ill-gotten gains, as it were. He defrauded the people around him, his countrymen, but we could understand that because he was therefore rich and, as it were, didn't really have to work by the sweat of his brow for his riches, probably lived a rather extravagant lifestyle, indulging in all sorts of passions, and confirmed in that by his colleagues and other people around him. And we see Jesus entering into the mystery of that mess of Levi's life, Matthew's life. We understand him to be Matthew, who became an apostle and wrote one of the Gospels. Jesus steps right into the middle of that, and that's what incenses the scribes and the Pharisees, that particularly that Jesus would eat and drink with these people. It's a sign of fellowship, of communion, companionship, literally, but that Jesus would do this. But if we remember who Jesus is, he's the Son of God. He brings God. That God would want to sit down and eat and drink precisely with those who are most in need of mercy, most in need of forgiveness. Yes, maybe they're sort of trying to enjoy that lifestyle, but God knows, and they know deep down, it's not fulfilling them. We know when we sin that it's not the right thing, it doesn't really work, but we'll persist and keep doing it until someone comes and yanks us out of that way of life and says, listen, there's a better way. You can do better with my help. And reveals to us a new version of ourselves, an upgrade, a new dimension to the vision for our life. And this is what Jesus wants to do for Matthew. It's what he wants to do for each individual. And in Lent, that particularly is going to be one of those themes where we look at our lives. So we're called to increase time of prayer and fasting. Those disciplines particularly kind of draw on our inner reserves, make us look inside. What kind of person am I? Where does God need to help me? Where do I need to find mercy, forgiveness, even healing? Because sin damages, it wounds us. Other people's sins wound us. And if we're going to be restored and part of that new road of the gospel of salvation, it's going to need restoration. We're going to need patching back together again, being remade, reborn, recast through the death and resurrection of Jesus. So looking humbly at our lives is going to be part of our Lenten journey, not to just be sort of remain browbeaten, as it were, in dust, in ashes and sackcloth, but to be liberated precisely by the joy. We can imagine Matthew's life from that point became something new. We already see it in his desire to invite all his friends and let them know who Jesus is. This isn't like one of his parties of old. There's a change is starting to take place, and he's moving out into a new life. And that new life is always being offered to us. Just because we practice our religion doesn't mean we've yet understood the fullness of what it means to really know ourselves as loved and redeemed by God, and able, therefore, to be part of that mission. Our first reading today encouraging us to find practical ways to express that love, to reach out to those less fortunate than ourselves. So let's pray in our Lenten season that we can respond to these invitations that we receive and find more and more the fullness of this gospel life that God wants to give to us and through us to his world.